Yo, what's good, peeps? Brandon Alonzo with the Investors Love. What I want to do with this video is really talk about secured cards and 3 cards that I really recommend as far as some starter cards go. Also, I want to go over 2 important dates that you really need to know about when we're talking about credit cards and trying to rebuild your credit or trying to build it initially. The very first card that I want to talk about, and this is if your credit scores are below 600. You know, if you're in the 550 range or 570 range, somewhere in there, then you may be able to get an unsecured credit card. But if you know you're below 600, then secured credit cards are a great option for you. Let's go back to February 2018. That's when I really started focusing on my credit. And at that time, my score was 500. I might have a score. If so, I'll put it up there. I think I might have been at 495. One time I looked at it. Oh man, I just had I had a good amount of credit to my name, but I didn't really know how to use it. I just thought, oh, I'll pay my bill on time on the due date, but it's way deeper than that. So credit cards again, and talking about secured cards, my route, the first card I got was a secured card from Citi. Boom. And I'll put links in the description too to these cards, whether it's a pre-qualifier or if it is directly to the credit card. Either way, the whole point is just saying that was the first card that I got. I put $200 down. Let's back up. Before you even get to the point of putting $200 down, what I want to say is you have to be ready. You have to be ready to buckle down completely on your credit. Understand that credit shouldn't be used unless you have the cash to back it up in most instances. So if you have a credit card and you swipe $300 on it, you should have that in the bank as far as cash in your debit account. If you don't have it in your checking account, then you don't really have it to use on credit because you're just going to make yourself go in debt. So that's a big rule. If you don't have it in your bank account, in your checking account to cover it, you don't need to be buying it. You're living outside of your means, okay? Credit is for you to build and establish that you are trustworthy and that you know what you're doing with these extensions of funds from these banks. Now, I say that to say you need to know when you're ready. If you're saying you're ready, then I believe you're ready. You're ready right now. I took an assessment of all my bills, in and out, everything I had going on. I had to actually cut a lot of stuff, and that's a big thing that I'm a proponent of, cutting out things that are no longer serving you. So whether you smoke cigarettes, whether you drink a lot, whether you got Netflix and Hulu and you don't need both, if you got extra subscriptions to different things, whatever it might be, take a real assessment of your ins and outs, what you got coming in, what you got going out when you're ready to repair your credit, because all of your money, you're going to want to either put it into savings to have that buffer just in case, or you're going to want them to go towards your old bills or your current bills as far as your credit goes, because you always want to be on time. When you're rebuilding your credit, you don't got time to play games. It's priority for you to pay your credit card off in full every month. And I'll get with the due date and everything like that in a little bit later section here. So that's the first thing. Assess what's going on. Cut out the BS that you're not actually needing in life. Seriously, you trying to get to a next level, you got to cut off all things that are not going to help you get to that next level. Any of these other things that you're doing, they're pulling from your resources, which are your funds. And I feel like the 3 pillars of financial success in my eyes come from your ability to save, your ability to earn money, and your ability to invest your money. So once you have those 3 pillars, in my opinion, you're pretty good as far as your financial mind state. Now, to get into the cards, since we have that out of the way, very first card, like I said, was the diamond card from Citi. I put $200 down. This was like February of 2018. Credit score below 500, pretty much 500. What I did, like I said, 200 down. They sent me the card. Boom, started using it, paying it off. Cool. About 3 months later, I applied for Capital One. Now, when I applied for Capital One 3 months later, that was an unsecured platinum card. My recommendation, if you're coming into the game as far as new or rebuilding, look into either the Citi card, which I showed and I'll put it up there. Look into the Capital One card, which is secured as well. And we're only talking secured right now. And my favorite would be, which I don't even have, but I do have one of their cards. I don't have the secured version, however, is the Discover It card. A few things with each of these cards now. Let's talk APRs. APRs to me don't really matter. Your goal going into this, your mind state should be for you to pay your bill in full every month on time. I've maintained that for over a year now. So it can be done regardless of your budget and things like that. As long as you know you're not going to overspend, you can make this work. So get one of these 3 cards. And like I said, Citi is okay. The APRs, they're probably anywhere between, I won't quote them, anywhere between 18-25%. Who knows? Like I said, to me, it doesn't matter because I pay my bill every month in full by the due date, before the due date, to be honest. I chip away at my payments. I just throw 50 here, 100 there, 200 there. It's less stress when you pay your bills early, I'm telling you. I see Citi, you just got to put at least 200 down. With the Capital One card, one of the benefits or pros would be you can put between $49, $99, and I believe $200 as the base amount to start credit with them as far as a secured card goes. And that's going to be determined off of your credit worthiness. The reason I do recommend first, the number 1 card is the Discover It secured card, is because you get rewards. These other 2 cards, you won't get rewards, and you really don't get rewards until you move to those reward tiers. So you have secured cards as the first tier of cards. That's when you're struggling, you're trying to get back on your stuff, you know. And then you got unsecured cards, but with no rewards. That's still a step above because now that's not your money, that's the bank's money. So that's a good thing. You don't have to put any upfront money. Then the third tier is going to be the rewards. And then you got different types of rewards. But as long as you get into the rewards, you're a step above these other 2. So that's why that Discover card is great. It gives you 2% on gas. And it gives you 1% on all other purchases. What I do is, like I said earlier, put links in the description to each of these. And also with this Discover card, what happens when you use the link that I'll provide below, you'll get a $50 bonus. Now, another unique thing with Discover card, why I like it so much, after 1 year, those cashback rewards, you just leave them in there, they're going to double those. So that $50 that you get for using that link below to the Discover card and applying, that's going to be in there, plus that extra $50. So anything that you've earned as well, as far as gas being a 2% or any other purchases while you're building up your credit, all of that goes in there. Like I said, I personally would not touch it. I haven't touched rewards on any of my cards yet, and they've been stacking up for over a year now. I just look at it as it's a nice bonus, but I never try to attain rewards, because if you're trying to get to a certain amount of rewards, you're just spending frivolously. Just look at it as a cherry on top for you paying everything on time, you being good with your bills and everything like that. And it's just a nice bonus. I don't use this card anymore, and that's why I called Citi. I said, hey, I'm getting rewards now from these other guys, like this Discover It. Once you graduate your Discover It to the unsecured, you'll be able to get 5% cash back in different quarters. Like right now, I'm getting 5% cash back at all my grocery store purchases. It's crazy, right? And then at the end of the year, guess what? They're going to double that because I'm not touching any of the rewards. Now, that's for the credit cards. I didn't want to make this video too long. That's why I'm talking a little bit fast, because I want to keep you guys engaged, but I also want to give you good, vital information. When that stops, then that's when the video is over. So 2 last things I want to talk about: important dates with your credit card when you're looking to build your credit. I want to give an example here of how these 2 important things come into play: your due date and your close date. Let's say in December, I got a brand new card, and I want to walk you through what I do when I get my new cards, right? So I get a new card in the mail, boom, call the number and try to see if I can see what my statement dates are. Sometimes they'll be able to tell you, sometimes they won't. Your statement dates are the dates that you are charged from. Let's say the 1st of January to the 31st of January 2019. And then what happens, you get a bill due on February 15th once all of that is tabulated. I'm sure you guys are pretty familiar with how billing goes. So that's the first thing I do, is try to figure out my close date and my due date. All right. The first thing that I want to do, like I said, is open up my calendar. Let's say my due date is the 15th when I open that card up. I go ahead to the 14th, one day ahead of the due date, and I set a reminder in my calendar that I need to pay this credit card, Discover card ending in 0001, by the 14th in full because it's due by the 15th. I set that up, and then what I do is I set another reminder 1 week before that, every month indefinitely. That's for that card. Every single card I have, I get notifications on my phone for when it's due. More than likely I pay it in advance anyway though, because I just like to chip away at my bills as they come, so it's not like $700, $1,500. Nobody wants to see huge bills like that. Like, it's ridiculous, right? So just chip away. And the second thing is the closing date. Now, it might take a little bit longer to get the closing date, but the closing date is very important because the difference between the two, your due date is when you must have the amount paid in order to not incur interest. Like I said, I pay my bills in full so I don't incur interest. It is important that you pay in full or as best as you can by the due date to not incur any additional interest fees. Now, that's just for you and your pockets, right? So you want to at least pay the minimum, but you always want to pay more. You want to pay it all off. Like I said earlier, if you don't have the cash in your debit account, you shouldn't be using a credit card. Emergencies happen, things happen. I absolutely get it. And credit cards are, in a sense, for emergencies as well. So if that happens, I definitely understand. But if not, and you're just buying shoes and you buying things that you don't really need, then you really need to cut it out if you're really trying to, build your credit properly anyway. Unless you got the, like I said, funds to take care of that. It's not a big deal. Just live within your means with it and don't go crazy is my thing. So we explained what the due date was. Now, the closing date. The closing date may show on your first statement or any statement after, but it may not. Some companies aren't even that upfront with you. They won't tell you what a closing date is or how to figure it out. If you look on your statement, whether it's online through the application or if you get the paper statement, you'll be able to see either closing date, and it'll tell you January 31st or the 31st of every month. Or if you don't see that, what you need to do is look at your statement dates, opening and closing, January 1st to January 31st. And it could be any days in between. It's going to be about 30 or 28, something like that. But I'm just using this as an example. Everybody's isn't going to just be the 31st because I'm saying it, okay? Look at your statement, see what dates you're billed through, and that last date is your closing date. What's so important and what's so big about the closing date, Brandon? The closing date is when the amount that you have due on your card is reported to the credit bureaus. Rewind my videos at any point if you need to. That is when the amount of your credit card is sent to the credit bureaus. This comes in handy because of your utilization. Now, if you want to keep your utilization down, below 30 is okay. Below 20 is good. Below 10 is great. If you keep it at 1 to 0, honestly, that's marvelous. That's ideal for you to get the most points every month, is to keep it between 0, 1, 2, 3%, somewhere in that range. 10% is still great. Like I said, 20% is still above average, above what most people are doing. And most people are probably at 30%, but that's more of a maintenance level. Keep in mind, that's if you're not really looking to keep your score increasing. If you just want to maintain it and it might be a tough month, try to get it as close as you can to 30% by that date. So let's do another quick example. Let's say you got $1,000 credit card, right? All right, cool. You get your bill in the mail and it says, Brandon, your bill is $700. It's due on February 15th for January 1st through January 31st. I say, all right, cool. I pay the $700, right? zero balance for me. Perfect. What happens after I pay that amount, right? After that, anything that I incur from the 15th, let's say I paid it on the 15th on the due date, paid in full, boom. Anything that I incur from the 15th through the 31st of this current month will be sent to the credit bureau. So if I rack up another let's say I rack up another $400, right? That means that if I don't pay that down by the 31st of February, when it's reported on my closing date, they're going to send to the credit bureaus that I'm utilizing 40% of my credit. So what would I need to do to get it down to 30%? Do some math. 1,000 minus 70% will tell you exactly what number you need to have it down to. Get it down to $300. That means I need to pay $100. If I want to get it down to 10%, I need to pay it down until it's $100 remaining as far as the amount of credit used. So it's $900 still available. And then on that date, it gets reported to those credit bureaus. So closing dates are important. I think a lot of people don't understand or know what closing dates are. And I've come into contact with a lot of people who don't understand that. And they don't understand why they're paying their bill on the due date in full every month, but their credit utilization is still showing 50, 60, 70% at times when they've paid it down, and they're just trying to make it to that next due date. They're thinking, hey, man, I paid it on the 15th of February, and then March comes around, and they're telling you that you utilized 70% of your credit, or 40, 50% of your credit, and you're like, I paid it all in full. It doesn't make sense. That's why. If that doesn't make sense, rewind it. If it doesn't make sense and you rewound it, ask me questions below about anything. I'll be happy to explain it to you guys. But like I said, I wanted to make the video to quickly explain those things. Those 3 cards that I recommend. Like I said, Citi is a good one. Don't get me wrong. Also, Capital One is a good secure card. Both of those are good secure cards. And that Discover It is the best because you're going to get rewards. They're going to double that back. And you also get a bonus. I'll leave the links, like I said, in the bottom. If you have any questions, feel free. Like I said, I just wanted to make this video to hopefully help bring some clarity, help kind of guide people as far as some decisions I've made in 2018 and what cards I think are the best starting off in 2019 when you're trying to rebuild your credit, or if you're trying to just get a hold of your credit. So again, Brandon Alonzo with the Investors Loft. I'm going to start making more videos for you guys about little things. Hopefully it won't be as long, but hopefully this wasn't too much and it was good information for you guys. That's my whole goal. So again, Brandon Alonzo with the Investors Loft. Love, peace, like, comment, subscribe. Feel free to share it with your friends and family. If you feel like anybody may be able to find a benefit from this video, anybody that might be new to credit, anybody that might be struggling with their credit, feel free to share, all right? Peace, love. Yeah.